I love when the seasons change, and I love the different seasons, especially the one we are stepping into now, which of course is summer. We're starting now to go from inside the gym to training outside. But how do you do that? Especially with the temperatures increasing. How do you acclimate your body for training in higher heat? Today on the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast.
Welcome to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast
with Garrett Williamson.
Health, wellness, exercise, nutrition, and a whole lot more. Got questions? Call us and leave a message at 251-278-EDGE or message us at Personal Edge Fitness on Facebook and Instagram, at Team PE on Twitter, or personaledgefitness.com.
Good day and welcome to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Garrett Williamson, president of Personal Edge Fitness. Thank you so much for joining us today. Coming to you from beautiful downtown Dog River, which seemed like an appropriate place to actually do the podcast today because we're talking about changing into the summer, and what better scenery than sitting out here on the dock, enjoying this beautiful day and recording the podcast. So as always, enjoy or forgive the boats going past. Hopefully we won't have any yard work noise going on in the background to interrupt us. So as we talk about getting ready for the summer heat and training or exercising outside. If you're interested in getting in touch with us here at the show or have any questions dealing with any of the podcasts that we've had, or have a question, a general question about health, fitness, or wellness, you can contact us at area code 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. Now you can also reach me at Garrett, Garrett, at personaledgefitness.com. You can also contact us through our website, which of course is personaledgefitness.com, and our Facebook page, which is Personal Edge Fitness. Growing up on the water here in South Alabama and living on the water now, I love the summer. Now I actually like all seasons, but spent pretty much all my life on the water during the summer, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But it does pose some challenges, especially when you get into exercise. Now, down here in Mobile, I have to say we have, I think, two seasons. It's been said that we have two seasons. We have summer, and then we have Senior Bowl Day, which is we're the host of the Senior Bowl here in Mobile, Alabama, and that's typically one of the coldest days of the year. So it's kind of a joke about that because usually it's pretty warm down here. You can swim, usually get in the water sometime around end of April, May, and I don't get out till at least the beginning of November. So it's great. We love that. But when it comes to exercise and switching from indoor training to going to outside training, there's some obvious precautions that need to be made in dealing with heat. And here, April, May is not too bad, but when you start getting, especially into like the latter part of July and definitely August and September, we're looking at 100 degrees and high, very high humidity. And the humidity is really kind of the key. We always make a joke that you could actually go outside some days, cut a chunk of the weather and bring it inside. I mean, it is very thick. It's like walking out into a wet blanket. So in order to train in those conditions, you have to acclimate your body. And for safety reasons, definitely, because you're looking at heat stroke, you're looking at just passing out, you're looking at all kinds of problems that you could have, dehydration. This is not unfamiliar to anybody, I'm sure. Acclimating yourself for heat, you know that I'm going to discuss safety issues concerning that. But what I really want to stress is the fact that once you've acclimated, training in heat is like training in cold. It's actually can be good for you. It's a level of stress, it's a level of intensity, but if you're able to acclimate yourself for it, you actually can become healthier. I know that sounds strange, but any challenge like that does tend to make you stronger. So I highly encourage you to acclimate and get outside. Don't let the heat keep you from doing it, but make sure you take the time to acclimate. And when I say take time to acclimate, start now. Don't wait till it's really, really hot and then try to acclimate. Start when the changes are so insignificant you think I'm crazy for telling you, hey, get outside now when it's, high 70s and start your exercise. Oh, that's no big deal. I can do that. That was easy. Right. We want the stages of the acclimation to be like watching grass grow. We want you almost not to notice it, because right now, going from where we were a few weeks ago at 50 degrees, and then where we are now, which is, mid to high 70s, I'm not even paying attention to the temperature because it's quite nice. That is anywhere from a 20 to 30 degree change. Doesn't feel like a big deal at all. I understand that. Pretty soon, though, we're going to go from 80 to 90 or 85 to 90. And that is going to be more like a 20 to 30 degree change. And when you go from 90 to 95, that's like a 20-degree change. I mean, it gets exponentially more difficult and more challenging once those temperatures get up a lot higher. And so before that happens, you want to go ahead and start the acclimation process. Therefore, you don't really notice the change. And it is possible. In fact, people do it all the time about getting acclimated and going outside and running the hottest of heat and still having no trouble whatsoever. And we do have several instances where people actually go out and do that and, of course, harm themselves. They're typically not acclimated. So let me tell you the steps to do that. I'm going to start with one that you may be surprised about, but I'm actually starting with dealing with your heart rate. Your heart rate skyrockets. It's a lot of stress on your body to have a lot of heat. So your heart rate typically elevates. And so to get your heart rate ready for that, I recommend doing HIIT training. The HIIT training is high-intensity interval training. We've done it for years. It's become extremely popular of late. I've been training HIIT training ever since 1991. Fantastic style. That's that sprint, recover type working out. If you're doing it through resistance training, you're doing some quick circuits, some pretty heavy lifts, or just lifts that get your heart rate up almost to where you're almost out of breath. Then you recover for a short amount of time, and then you repeat that exercise or repeat that intensity with another exercise. And they're usually short workouts, typically no more than 30 minutes. Not that somebody couldn't do a HIIT training for an hour, but they're typically 15 to 30 minutes. They're more brief so that people can recover, but it's stretching that band. It is driving that heart rate up and bringing it back down. Now, I'll recommend another way that you can do HIIT training, a very effective way of doing HIIT training, and that is through using stairs. This is something I do actually to get ready for racing season. Is I use a particular building downtown Mobile that has 17 floors, and I actually go and use the stairs to do HIIT training. I actually sprint up the different flights, resting so often, starting off with resting every fourth flight and then going to where I can rest every fifth flight, sixth flight. Pretty soon I'm making it all the way to the top of the building without having to rest, because my heart rate is, I've got my resting heart rate lower now because I've been doing the training. And that's a great way of acclimating. And if you have, it doesn't have to be 17 floors, but if you have a decent staircase available to you, that's a fantastic way of doing HIIT training. The second thing is getting in heat. And what I mean by getting in heat, you can do it artificially. You can do it through a sauna. Now, sauna is typically recommended. In our area, I would actually recommend a steam room, because the humidity is so high. You want to get your body not only ready for the heat, you want to get it ready for the humidity. So either a sauna or a steam room, and going in there on a regular basis 2 or 3 times a week, and spending some time in there. You have to kind of gauge that yourself, but I wouldn't be spending hours on inside a sauna by any means. But going in for short periods of time just to kind of get used to feeling that heat and getting your body used to dealing with that heat. Make sure you've got hydration with you. Make sure you've got water with you so that you can stay hydrated. You're also going to teach your fluid systems in your body to adapt to that heat. Another way of getting hot and actually stressing the body a bit is through hot yoga. It's a fantastic way of getting acclimated to it, because not only are you getting your body used to feeling that heat, you're also going to have your body exercising, moving, stressing like you would if you were gardening or if you were outside running. And so it's another fantastic way of acclimating that heat. Now, a couple of things that people don't think about. You think about, of course, increasing your fluid intake, which is important. But if you're training, you're exercising on a regular basis, and you kind of know, I've got my pre-workout meal, I've got my workout, what I eat after I work out, you've made those adjustments for inside, you now need to increase your fuel intake when you go outside and train. And why? Well, like I said earlier, this is adding stress to the body. This is like adding another level of intensity, like you're now carrying a 20-pound pack on your back. So you need to adjust and increase your fuel intake for that extra stress. By the way, if you're already way overeating your calories, no, I'm not telling you to to double it again. So this is for those of you that are actually controlling your fuel consumption concerning your exercise in relation to your exercise. And the second thing that most people won't think about is salt. Now, salt is very important, and we don't think about salt because we always think about salt as something bad. And that goes back to the whole good food, bad food lie, which started in 1953, which has caused all these problems. But we think that, and the problems that people have is because they're taking in way, 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 way too much salt. So just like we did with carbohydrates, we feel like the answer must be, well, then let's take in no carbohydrates. Let's take in no salt. No, that's not good at all. at all. In fact, it can cause serious health problems, starting with your brain. So one thing I would recommend is that I would recommend replacing your table salt with either kosher salt or sea salt, because there's no aluminum in sea salt and kosher salt. A lot of table salt does have aluminum in it. But you want to make sure that you've got enough sodium in your body, because not only when you sweat are you losing water, but you're losing salt. And sometimes when you go out and if you're hydrating really, really well and you're doing strenuous exercise outside, all of a sudden you'll start to develop a headache. Well, that headache is typically because or due to lack of salt. Not so much increase in water, but just lack of salt that causes a swelling on the brain. So something that you definitely want to pay attention to is, of course, your salt intake. And the last and blatantly obvious one is to train in the heat. And this goes back to what I was talking about a minute ago. Start now. Start when you don't feel like, oh, it's just a great day. It's warmer, but hey, I don't feel anything. I can go out there and run for hours or exercise for hours. Great. Go out and do so. Go out and start doing your exercises outside. Start doing your workouts outside. Start going outside and gardening. And if it's not time to do the type of gardening you want, well, then go for a walk or something. Start getting acclimated. If you're going to be outside 3 days a week, start getting outside 3 days a week now, when you don't notice the changes. And I promise you, if you do that on a regular basis, and it's just like drinking water, you can't be hard at it for 3 weeks, give up on it for a week and a half, and come back and then wonder why you're not acclimated. The same thing with going outside and training. If you miss a week or so and there's a 5 to 7 degree change in the temperature, you're going to notice a substantial difference when you try to go out and exercise again later. So you want to maintain that. You want to keep up with the weather, and you want to maintain that training outside so that you can maintain the changes that you make. But I do heavily encourage you to take part in training outside during hot days and getting yourself acclimated to it, because like I said, you actually be in better shape. Yes, it does add stress to it, but if your body can handle those kinds of changes, you're preparing your body to handle a lot of stressful changes. And the better we can handle stress, the better our bodies are anyway. You've heard me talk about this before, that the only reason that we overeat, there's only one reason why we overeat, which is cravings. There's only 2 reasons why we crave, and that is lack of water and stress. And the better we can handle stress, quite frankly, the better we live, period. So make those changes. Go out there, start getting out there now, and make sure that the changes that you make are slow, but they're continuous. Start now. Keep getting outside. Get used to enjoying exercising outside and enjoying your summer. And as always, if you have any questions dealing with the podcast about this particular subject or any others, please contact us at area code 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can also contact me at Garrett, Garrett, at personaledgefitness.com. You can also reach out to us at our website. There's a lot of good information there, a blog from the different podcasts is on there also. And that's personaledgefitness.com, and our Facebook page, which is where we get a lot of questions, and that's Personal Edge Fitness. As always, stay hydrated, but get outside. Get outside and enjoy this weather. Get outside and enjoy your summer. Get acclimated. That's one more way we help you live your level of wellness. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for listening to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast with Garrett Williamson. Subscribe now and be a part of the show by calling 251-278-EDGE or message us on Facebook and Instagram at Personal Edge Fitness or at Team PE on Twitter, and visit us at personaledgefitness.com.